Hey guys, welcome to Punky's Pro Wrestling. Okay, I have some wrestling news, an old story. Where did I just put that? Oh, it's right here. So it'll be interesting. Please ignore this beet red rash all over my face. I do not know what it is. Hopefully, it will go away very, very quickly. I know what this is. That's not going away. So, here goes your wrestling news for the week. Chris Jericho is in the second season of Dexter Resurrection. I actually watched the first, 5 seasons of the original Dexter, back when we had Showtime. I don't think it's on Showtime anymore, though. Maybe it is. And loved it. So, Jericho's gonna be one of the bad guys, I guess. Maybe that he kills. I don't know. But good for Chris. Carol Sammartino, the widow of Bruno Sammartino, passed away. Apparently she passed away about a month ago, but it didn't get out until now. AJ Lee is done with her WWE run as of WrestleMania. The WWE's post-WrestleMania purge has been met with heated I don't know what the word is. It's been met very heated and hotly debated because of Kairi Sane. I did see that she's going to AEW. I don't know how true that is, but I saw it on a news site. If it's not true, I will let you know as soon as I find out the truth. I want to thank James Romero and Stevie Richards, because they were one of the ones that were really debating the people that they chose to cut ties with this time. Evidently, Carmella was pretty mad about her contract ending and not being renewed. Well, Carmella hasn't wrestled in how long? Carmella can't wrestle because she got drop foot, which is a type of nerve damage that you get in your leg sometimes from having a baby. She wrestled maybe twice after she had the baby, left, could not wrestle, I believe, had another baby. So what's the problem? They released you because you cannot compete. And she's like, well, why can't I do commentary like my husband? Her husband is Corey Graves. Well, when they first brought Carmella in, by the way, they touted her as this second-generation superstar and had big plans for her that never quite materialized. She just wasn't... I agree with James Romero. She wasn't that good. Especially on commentary. I mean, they gave her a built-in slogan, Mella is money. And she just didn't live up to it. You know? She didn't have the charisma, the personality to pull off Mella is money, you know, like she could have. These are my opinions, and they were James' opinions, but I do agree. But like I said, when she first came in, I don't know if you remember or not, but she was pushed as this second-generation superstar because her father had been in the WWF back in the day. And I guess she thinks that gets her some kind of clout, and she shouldn't have been released because of that. I'm guessing here. She didn't say that, but I'm guessing that she thinks that it gives her some kind of clout to be second generation. Yeah, maybe. If your father's Bob Orton and he was on the first WrestleMania. Or, do you know what I'm saying? So, even though he was a mid-carder, he was very important to the evolution of the company and stuff, whereas, and could have very easily gone up the card, whereas her father was a jobber, an enhancement talent, which means he probably had great skills, because they usually did in order to really put over the bigger talent. But that was back in the days when they had jobbers, when they had guys that simply lost for a living. You knew when you saw them up against whomever, they were going to lose. That's how they did TV back in those days. For those of you not old enough to remember that, they did TV like that, where they would put all the big stars up against job guys to enhance them and make them look bad before they go, and really good and strong before they go into matches with their, pay-per-view opponent. So you might see one match on the card between two top talents, and it would be the main event. Everything else would be enhancement guys versus top talent. They don't do that anymore. But back in the 80s, they did that. When wrestling was first big on television, they did that. And that's what her father was, television enhancement. Therefore, that gives her no pull at all. And I'm not saying anything bad about her father at all. I think it's lovely that they brought him out with her and that they had a moment together on screen and whatnot, and talking about how proud he was of her and stuff like that. I get it. He's her dad. But he can't get her where she thought just being a second generation wrestler would get her. This is just my supposition here. The last thing I want to share with you is an old story. Don Morocco used to have a podcast with James Romero. I love James, by the way. And he told a story about Roddy Piper. And I thought it was the best story. It's not one Roddy ever told, because he didn't need to. So, him and Roddy would be there all day, cutting interview after interview after interview. And there were all the people working around them that were being paid a lot less than they were. They got paid $75 a day for those interview days. And these people were making minimum wage, probably. And so, all the people, working around them. So Roddy would distribute his $75 amongst them. And he happened to mention to Morocco, look, I do this to help them out. And they made so much money in the business per night at that point that it wasn't going to make or break them. And Don Morocco said, you know what, I'm going to join you in this, Roddy. I like this idea. And so they both distributed their $75 a week amongst the employees that weren't making very much to help them out. And I think that's awesome. And Don wasn't bragging. He was just saying that it was Roddy. He wasn't even really taking credit for what he did. He just said Roddy was doing it all along. And he just happened to mention to me, it'd be nice to help these guys out. And this is what I do with the money I get each week from this, because it's not going to make or break me. And Don said, you know what, it's not going to make or break me either. So I'm going to join you. And he did. And I think that is awesome. Just another reason to love Roddy, I think that story, that's just awesome. And I think it's sweet that Don Morocco joined with him. He didn't have to. He said, I was making really good money at the time, so that $75 was nothing to us. And if we could help someone else along the way with it, why not? And I think that's cool. And like I said, he wasn't tooting his own horn. He was just telling a story about Roddy and how Roddy influenced him in a good way. And I think it's wonderful, and I wanted to share that with you. I don't usually ask for likes, but how about giving some likes to this video in memory of Roddy Piper and the good man that he was. So, excuse me. I will see you next time. Bye, guys. God bless you.